right. Hello, Sooner Nation. It's our first post-game pod after our opening 35-3 win against Illinois State. Steve was at the game. I think me and him share the same kind of feelings about it. We'll touch on the OT stuff. Apparently, that's a hot topic right now. Program being shut down.
Jeremy and I.
I'll let Steve start it.
Jeremy and I were talking here. I guess you could call it in our production meeting before this started, and everything made sense to me yesterday except what happened with Jaden Ott. In other words, if Jaden Ott wouldn't have had those 3 plays on offense, and really he wouldn't have been back on kick return, but I really don't think the plan was to really return much on kicks. I think more the plan was just we're getting the reps, we're making sure we're in the right spots and that sort of thing. The best explanation I can give is there was some frustration with what we were getting, both with our run game and with our running backs. And so that finally just came, the heck with it. Freaking put Ott in there. Then it was like, okay, that was stupid. We shouldn't have put Ott in there. So he came back out. But beyond that, guys, what did we, it was a sellout. It was a pretty good crowd. They heard someone describe it as it was really full and there were a lot of people there, but it kind of felt like a lot of the real season ticket holders gave their tickets to their neighbors. And it wasn't a hugely boisterous crowd, but all that being said, we wanted to see John Mateer. We wanted to see, is John Mateer the real deal? And I think I can say with my own 2 eyes, yes, he's the real deal. We have a quarterback, and that is by far the most important thing that came out of yesterday. Jeremy, I think you made this analogy, and I'll turn it over to you for a minute, but it was a pretty eerily similar stat line. John Mateer set the OU first game broke Baker's first game passing yards total by 4 yards. He threw for 392. Baker threw for 388. And like Jeremy's dog said, we still didn't get much on the line there. But Jeremy, go ahead.
Yeah, and I kind of made the analogy to our friend group yesterday about the similarities to it. Got taken basically how I figured it would from that group. But really just a lot of similarities. Felt like we left a lot of the points on the board. It was against Akron, 2015. Like I told Steve before we got on, I said, and that 2015 game ended well for us, ended well for us. I mean, I think we ended up going to the playoffs. So I think we put so much stock, and I think we're gun shy a little bit from last year. It's like we all just thought that we were going to put up 90 points and Mateer wasn't even going to be ran out there in the second half, which I will say this. I said earlier that if Mateer was playing late in the third quarter, I'd be kind of upset, which I was. I didn't want him out there, but that said, he's got to get some continuity with this group. Like, this is a new team for him. So it's like he'll still like 35-3 is probably still like, I could see it. Now, about the Ott situation, me and Steve were talking before we got on. I said, to me, it almost felt like they ran Ott out there just to screw with OU fans, just to give them talking points, because it's like, why run him? Yeah. Why run him out there for 3 snaps unless you're just screwing with people? Because I am totally on board. Why play him right now? I really thought we got a spark out of Blaylock. Barnes, man, I'm kind of with everybody else on this. Like, he's just not finding his holes and his kickback. There was a couple runs that I watched. I watched last night. Watched the replay of the game. There were a couple runs. If he just kicks it out, he's probably got turn a no gain into about 8-9 yards. So just like little things like that. I don't know how much more we can keep going with Barnes. I just don't see it right now. And Blaylock showed us so much. So
I think Barnes is who he is. I think Barnes is a second, third back is who he is. He's not a guy who needs to be the primary back. He's the guy who I'm sure worked really hard all off season. Did all the reps all through practice, does all the little things right and all that, but he's just not a starting caliber running back. That's not who he is. I made the comment to the guy sitting in front of me yesterday, and he about spit his beer out. And I was like, Barnes has the vision of Stevie Wonder. I mean, that's just what he sees when he gets the football. He just kind of goes and stumbles and goes. And we could hope for something different, but we've seen enough years of what that is. But while I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about running back, I thought, Blaylock definitely showed us the juice that we had heard about. Thought he did a good job cutting. I liked the one run where he bounced it outside. The drives where Blaylock was the best we looked offensively was the second quarter when we could establish some run with Blaylock. Thought all those things were really positive. I didn't think Xavier Robinson looked great.
Yeah, hey, let's do this.
Okay.
Hey, let's do this. How about you start, touch on what stood out, like what player stood out to you in offense? I mean,
Sure.
Obviously Blaylock stood out to you. I think he did to me too. But who were some players you saw that you were just like, man, that's I wasn't expecting that.
First off, kind of one of the big exhale things that happened was the catch that Deion Burks had down the sideline where I said I'm in section 33 is where I'm at. And so on that visitor sideline, that catch that Burks had was just ridiculous. And, happy to see that. I thought Keontez Lewis looked really good. I mean, Keontez Lewis did the thing where he caught every ball that was thrown to him. And no, it wasn't anything overly flashy. Okay. It's not going to be confused with Jeremiah Smith. It's not that kind of thing. But I thought Lewis looked like an absolute player. I thought Satanga looked really good, returning kicks, especially. He gives you a chance as somebody to go over the top too. I think that, Kanik, yes, the fumble we wish we could take back, but that was the most yards an OU tight end has had since Braden Willis. And, in case anyone's paying attention, Bauer Sharp, I think, fumbled twice for LSU today. So all that, I'm talking offensive side of the ball. Obviously, Mateer was what we wanted to see. That's the most important thing. But I thought it showed that we had players to catch the ball who can make some plays. And I thought that was really positive. I mean, 3 different tight ends, I think, caught a ball today. But my biggest concern, and hopefully it's better, is my concern's not really at running back. To me, we've got enough bullets in that 6-shooter to kind of see what comes out. Is we need those 3 offensive linemen who didn't play today to play next week and to play well. Because that would be my biggest, if you want to put a concernometer on anything, the highest concernometer for me is just offensive line, because I just, don't think the group that we played for the big chunk of yesterday, while I do think it's better than last year, it's not as big of a jump as what we want it to be.
No, I agree. And
it's not the same jump that like from Arnold to Mateer is. Okay, our offensive line hasn't taken that big of a leap. And hopefully when we get those 3 guys in there, I think that's 3/5 of our best line that didn't play yesterday. And hopefully it can be 60% better next week.
Yeah, and going back to Kanik, he 5 catches, 90 yards. What would we have said last year if Bauer Sharp had done that? I mean, give me 90 yards receiving out of my tight end. Yeah, I understand the fumble happened, and that is what everybody's going to talk about. But one thing I like about him is that he gets in that open space. He finds open areas, and Mateer's going to find you if you can get open. And that's one thing that I've noticed. Mateer throws a good ball, smooth release. I mean, zips it out of there. Keontez Lewis, like you said, competitive catches. I mean, I think that's what you always look. You need that one receiver and go up and get the ball. Looked like they were making an effort to get the ball to Burks early on. They did a reverse sweep, which was kind of scary, but it actually worked because it was ran the right way. It didn't look like a bunch of guys.
And it wasn't ran to our tight end.
No.
Although I wouldn't mind seeing Jaron get one of those at some point, but.
Yeah, but one thing I like about Blaylock is his game isn't really physicality, but you can tell that they've been kind of preaching that to him because he's finishing his runs. Now, that said, it might have hurt him, but he's still got to put some weight on him before he has that being that damaging running. But he has that home run ability, and I think that's what Ott has too. To be honest with you, and just a little more veteran type running back than what Blaylock is. So,
I mean,
but
wouldn't you say, Jeremy? I would just say, I was having this conversation with somebody actually walking out of the stadium yesterday. To me, like, my grade is still going to be a little bit of an I on everything. If you're going to give me it's incomplete. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important piece, this is what I want anyone listening to this podcast leaving is, it's not last year. Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't have a quarterback like John Mateer last year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have skill guys healthy like we did. We didn't have those things. And no matter what happens next week, we know going into that, we've got a quarterback. And Jeremy and I have talked about this a lot, but it's probably quarterback in football, pitcher in softball. Those are probably like the two biggest positions that can change the entire dynamic of your entire team. Yeah. And we have that covered. And that's just a huge relief. Let's not leave this feeling negative just about the question on the offensive line, which I have, which Jeremy has. I'm sure Bill Beedenbow has, Brent Venables has. We all have those. But leave this with some satisfaction. We have a quarterback again, okay? And if you want to say, I don't think Mateer is any better than Dylan Gabriel, I do. I think his upside's higher than DG's. But if you want to say that, guys, Dylan Gabriel is a good quarterback. Okay. Mm-hmm. But we're back in that kind of a conversation again. And that is a big thing and a really good thing.
Yeah. And if you want to look at the difference between Gabriel and Mateer, Mateer is high on draft boards. If he has a good season, he's a first round pick. That's just, I think in one of the mock drafts, they have the Steelers taking him. The Steelers need a quarterback. So that tells you anything. I mean, it's just different. I think Carrie said it on the Alexis postgame report on the Sooner Scoop guys. If you have a quarterback, you're always in football games, especially with the defense we have. So we're always going to be in games because of John Mateer. That's just the nature of it. But also, to look at it with the offensive line, it sounds like everybody that was out is going to be for Michigan. So kind of what I figured. But also, too, everybody's getting so upset about our offensive line. Yes, I understand it's another year, but also realize we pretty much ran the same guys out there as we did last year. They're not magically – but also, too, what's the big deal with offensive linemen? When we had those great offensive lines with Creed Humphrey at center and all, we won those O'Brien Awards. Is that what it's called? No. Is it O'Brien Award? I can't remember what award it is.
Anyway, I think O'Brien's secondary, right?
You know what I'm talking about. Best offensive line. Yeah, it might be
Outland, maybe?
Outland, I think, might be. I don't know. Who knows? This is great podcasting. But but they won that award after being together as the group.
Outland is best interior offensive lineman. So
okay.
There we go.
But to have that group together for 2 straight years, they developed the continuity. I think Creed Humphrey said it. He goes, I don't even have to say anything to my other offensive linemen. Like, we just look at each other and we know where each other is going. That takes a while to build that. So, guys, I don't care who we have healthy. They still have to build continuity with each other. It isn't going to set the world on fire against Michigan. Our offensive line is not going to magically just be great just because we put 2 new guys in there that are healthy. Will it be better? Yes, but don't go out there thinking that we're just going to just dominate the line of scrimmage because Michigan's got a good up front too. So sometimes we got to skew back a little bit from what our beliefs are in our offensive line.
I mean, we all watched the Baylor-Auburn game on Friday. And, why did Baylor win that? I mean, why did Baylor lose that game? Why did Auburn win that game? Auburn kicked their butt up front. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so we were wanting to see a lot of that. And you're saying, well, yeah, gosh, you're just telling us how bad we are because, by golly, you're saying that Auburn just whooped the heck out of Baylor and we can't whoop the heck out of Illinois State. Them Redbirds looking like St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah. Okay. So I understand all that. But also understand what we schemed up yesterday is very, very different than what we're going to scheme up on Saturday. Okay. Mm-hmm. Very, very different things. If we were playing another Power 5 school, then we would not have went with that same exact game plan. That's not what would have happened. Okay.
Yep.
So understand that. We'll deal with that. And, once again, offensively, question marks at offensive line, sure. But to me, good job, and I'm ready for next week.
Yeah, and okay, so we'll leave this with before we jump to the defensive side of the ball. But offensively, I think Mateer's interception. I don't know if that was more. I think it was Burks.
I think Burks was supposed to settle in, and he kind of kept drifting. Is more
well, he threw it his back shouldered away from the defender, and I don't think Burks was there. I think that's more on the receiver, but you know what? The quarterback gets interceptions. But good job by the defense, and we'll move to the defensive side of the ball. Defense did here's the beauty part about having a defensive front like we do. We don't have to send a whole lot of blitz packages against teams like that. We can get pressure. Illinois State's, you could tell their game plan was to kill clock, get out of the game, try to stay injury free. Didn't work. Rittenhouse gets hurt. Taylor Wine lands on him. Kind of sucks for them. They had a good game plan. They got some good push up front, but really our defense flying around again.
It's one of those things where in stadium there are people complaining about us getting gashed on defense. So we gave up a couple of those long runs and, that sort of thing. But then you look up and we've given up 120 yards.
Yeah.
And really their offense never got inside the 40 at any point, And so all that being said, to me, standouts on the defense. I thought Guillory looked really good for a first year guy. Thought Kendall Daniels just looks really comfortable. I thought he looked really good. I thought Marvin Jones looked pretty good opposite because they were sending a lot of stuff at R. Mason. Thought it was pretty funny to watch Jaden Jackson just bully people back into the quarterback a couple of different times. And Illinois State knew they weren't going to try to take 5-step drops, 7-step drops. They were trying to get rid of the football. Okay.
Yeah.
And they tried to run away. My biggest concern that I would probably have with the defense is I kind of thought linebacking play was a little suspect at times. Thought Kip maybe made a couple of bad reads. Thought Heineke, I just worry about him next week being as small as he is. Because on the first big run play that they got, it just looked like he just got enveloped and knocked back, just being a smaller guy. He's built like a strong safety playing linebacker. And those are concerns that I have. But if the biggest concern in your defense that's led by Brent Venables is linebacker, I think we're probably in pretty good shape.
Yeah. And also,
what did they throw for? 35, 40 yards?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you could tell when Rittenhouse went out that they were like, okay, we just need to get out of here and nobody else get injured because he gave him the thumbs up that he wanted to come back in.
34 yards. They were 10 of 20 for 34 yards.
Yeah.
Passing the ball. So that's pretty good.
That's and also too, you can tell Gentry Williams is back because they literally do not throw to his side. Have you noticed that? He is the closest thing to Derek Strait we probably had in a long time.
I didn't get to say his name, but I thought Peyton Bowen looked really good as somebody we'd heard may have been dinged up and, that sort of thing. Thought he gets a shout out to me. David Stone and Taylor Wine, guys we've heard about improve. Thought they hit pretty good. Taylor Wine's family kind of sets down and to the right from me. And so there's some O'Doyle rules quality to those guys. They've all got on Wine jerseys. And when he got that sack, it was they were all pumped up. So props to them. But all in all, just not a lot bad to say defensively. Like I said, I thought maybe just some gap coverage and some things at the linebacker level was probably my biggest question. Specialist wise, I think I mentioned this earlier, but I thought Satanga looks like somebody who's got some juice.
Satanga's going to break one this year, for sure.
Yeah, if you told me if the over under was 0.5 on punt return touchdowns, I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I agree. Talking about linebackers, a name that we didn't mention who had, to me, probably graded out pretty good, Samio. Good. He led the team with 8 tackles. That's, I guess, his career high is what I heard. But seems to be kind of quiet leader with that team. Seems like he's respected by a lot of the guys on defense. But Guillory, he answered all the questions. I mean, they were throwing to his side. You could tell they were like, stay away from Gentry. And they threw to his side and not a whole lot of not a room. And one thing that I love about Brent Venable defenses is how many missed tackles do you see?
Yeah, not a lot.
There's
always like, and Reggie Powers got it this time. There's always a nice kaboom. Reggie Powers had a really big hit, and it's always nice to see those. And I think that's going to be really important heading into next week. Didn't really get to see much on the kicker. Kicked off back to the end zone like what we were supposed to. One of the extra points was a little sketchy. I think it was our second touchdown, but watching the guy in warm-ups, he does have an absolute leg. He does. And
shout out to my friend, our friend April, was texting me. Her biggest complaint was our punter. She's like,
it was an ugly
does our
punt.
punter suck?
Yeah. Hey, but their punter was absolutely elite. I mean, if
literally what
Yeah.
she said. Is there any way we can make a trade for their punter and our punter for a player to be named at a later date?
Yes.
I said, well, let's see. Last year we talked about how great our punter was and our quarterback sucked. I said it's a pretty good.
We'll make the trade.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll take that.
It's
so,
fine.
but yeah, I think defensively nothing to really worry about. He's not going to send a lot of blitz packages at Illinois State by any means.
I thought just to kind of put a bow on things that I saw that I felt like I wanted to mention, thought it was pretty neat. I don't know how much this has been talked about, but I like the fact that Arbuckle was on the sideline. I like the OC being able to talk to a quarterback. Also like the fact that Kevin Wilson was like right beside him all night long. Thought that was kind of a neat thing. But just seemed like positive dynamics in stadium. Those of you who've complained about the Toby Keith fourth quarter song, it was really weird starting the fourth quarter. They kind of played Hell's Bells, but then not really. And then there was like kind of a mashup of stuff. It was just kind of a poo-poo platter. And I kind of feel like maybe they're going to try to unveil something next week.
Kind of morbid to go from Toby Keith to AC/DC Hell's Bells, but that's just my opinion.
I don't know.
I'm like, that's the song you decided to go with besides Toby Keith? He's rolling over in his
It was
grave.
just kind of like, and they didn't really even go with it. And I know some people put on Twitter that that's what they played. I mean, it was played in the background, but it was kind of like some weird montage stuff. Also, Gerald McCoy, great player. I wasn't all that into him on the intro. I'm not sure if you saw that video. I'm not sure how much that's made it out of the stadium. It was meh. So let's hope some of that stuff gets turned up by next week.
Just throw Baker in there for crying out loud. You can never go wrong.
Give
by
the people what they want. Yes.
Or give me John Mateer. Apparently, John Mateer is a fan favorite already. So
yes. So I will say, cheers. The during the starting lineup, Mateer got by far the biggest cheer. Kind of was a little bit surprised that number 2 was Deion Burks, probably on loudest of cheer, and 3 would be Kip Lewis. So kind of interesting. And as soon as in the NFL, it's Baker, way up here, and then it goes down, and it's probably like maybe Creed, CD, or probably like second and third, but Baker still gets by far the biggest cheers.
What if Stutzman goes and has? I mean, if he's getting already like in New Orleans, he's already a fan favorite. But like if he goes and has a good NFL career, I've always worried Stutzman's got a little bit of Boz in him. Like if he has a good NFL career, like he's just really charismatic and just the people love him. So
100%.
He's the type of person that he could probably come back and get a big reaction, but nobody gets a bigger reaction than Baker. That's what.
No,
I think if anybody should ask for,
I'm pretty sure my family, if it was like me here, Baker here, and it was like yay, I mean, I would get squat.
For sure. I mean, I named my damn kid after him, so if that tells you anything, how he rolls in our house. But I've always felt like if all else fails and you're wanting like a big game to come up, and you need somebody talking, and just bring Baker in there and just shut up. Just let him just do his thing. So
last, and this isn't our preview pod, but one question, because we should have an answer for this by the time we do our preview pod on Wednesday. Prediction for guest picker this weekend, Jeremy. Who you got?
Good one. Dang, I don't know. Who would be the guest picker? Porter Moser? No, I'm just Ryan Spangler, friend of the program. There you go. That would be a good one. I don't know, man. That is a very good one. They used to always just get lazy with it and just bring in Toby Keith. And I feel like if they brought Toby Keith in on this one, that would be the best guest picker you've ever had. Rest in peace, Toby Keith. But you always never go wrong with the Kings of Leon guys. They're always pretty fun, but I don't know if they're as big as they were at the time they did it last time. I forgot where. I think it was in Northern.
I want to guess they go Kristen Chenoweth. Just throwing it out there. That's my guess.
God, that's so lazy.
It is, but it's ESPN.
I mean, I love her. I love her to death, and I love it that she's a big OU and Thunder fan. But my God, and then we got to bring her on, and people are like, "Who is this? I don't know who this lady is." I mean, then you got to answer the questions. So, I think it's lazy. Bring in SGA. Let SGA do it.
That would be awesome.
I would take that. Or bring in Jalen Williams.
Would we all be like, if they got Sam Presti to come do it, wouldn't we expect Presti to just unbelievably go 13-0 on picks with no emotion?
Or to announce that he's going to be our new AD.
Yes, he's like, yes.
While I'm here, I'll go ahead and announce this. I am going to be the new athletic director for the University of Oklahoma. Yes. I'll be like, well, here comes the national championships.
Yeah.
So, no, but that
all right, guys.
I know I really haven't even thought about that. I'm like, you can go Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's always a great
comment on that. There you go. There's an assignment for all you listeners out there. Comment. Who do you think? Yeah,
give us some comments. Hey, if you're not, we got over 110. I think we're at 111 last time I looked on YouTube.
Bing, bang, boom.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Apple and Spotify. This will start being the reg after OU games. We'll be back on Wednesday for the preview. Game day coming to OU for OU Michigan. So until then, Boomer Sooner.
Boomer.